welcome to the Ping Pong Critics review of The Judge. I'm Daniel.
I'm Nick.
Now this is our spoiler-free review, so do follow the annotation or link below to our spoiler review if you've already seen the film.
And if you haven't seen the film, first watch the video.
Yeah.
And then go see the film, because,
Yeah.
spoiler alert, it's a good film.
Dang it.
44% on Rotten Tomato.
Yeah, well, alright. Let's just clarify that we here at Ping Pong Critics don't even, consider Rotten Tomato, okay? Because they're not the best at indicating the merits of a film. Alright. Then let's just get into it.
Great.
Plot and storyline of the film.
Well, the plot, it's not the best part of the film. It tried to do a lot, and it ended up a bit unfocused. It's not a bad plot in any means. Basically, the idea is, and you probably gathered this from the trailer, a guy, he's a lawyer, he charges a lot, so he usually ends up defending people who got their money crookedly. He goes to his town, to his dad, and he has to kind of deal with his family. Yeah,
and we're not going to spoil anything once again, but through various events, he essentially goes through a bonding experience with his father. Now, without getting too much into characters, just on plot, once again, like Nick mentioned, it's not the strongest part of the movie, strongest aspect. In fact, I mentioned it almost immediately after film, I'm sure you remember. That is, it seemed a little unfocused to me. It tried to accomplish too much, and while it did some things absolutely fantastically, in the meantime, it had to sacrifice some other elements instead of, say, just focus on one or two aspects and just try to attack that instead.
You know, I don't think the movie was ever unfocused. I just think that it needed to know when to cut something.
Yeah.
Because unfocused kind of gives the idea that it didn't know where it was going with the story, and the story absolutely knew where it was going.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
But it tried to do a bit too much.
I feel like they could have easily shaved off 15 minutes.
Yes. Right? The movie's pretty damn long.
It is a long movie, that's right. It's, I think, over 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excuse me, I'm gonna cut this out.
So, after that...
Wait.
Okay. So, then we have the writing and the acting.
That's right.
And, oh my god.
Yeah, I don't think it's a surprise to mention that Robert Downey Jr. can act, and in fact is an absolutely great actor.
If you saw the trailers for this movie and you're just like, oh, he's just playing
Tony Stark,
except no Iron Man suit, he's not.
Yeah, it's definitely a different character, and man, he is so great.
Yeah.
It's still the same type of character as, say, a Tony Stark. However, obviously, he has his own reasons and motivations to various elements, and
they're completely unique.
Yeah, and Robert Downey Jr. is absolutely perfect for the role.
Yeah.
He is so great, and we wouldn't be responsible if we did not mention that Robert Duvall is also just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, he really captures the person who's trying to play a father and also a judge at the same time with the same people.
Absolutely. And neither character is a perfect character. They both have flaws, serious flaws. And both these actors portrays those flaws perfectly. And I'm sure you could tell already, this is definitely the best aspect of the film, the dynamic between Duvall's character and Downey's character.
But not to underplay the other actors at all. All of it's amazing. Even the child actor did a really great job.
In general, just across the line, acting is great, but the strongest aspect of the film is definitely the dynamic between Duvall's character and Downey's character. This father and son relationship. And
it's interesting to see where they're going with it, because detail is spread out very nicely across the film so that you're always learning more about this dynamic.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, in terms of environment, in terms of atmosphere, I feel like it also did extremely well in terms of that. In the beginning of the film, Downey's character is in a city setting where he usually works, and then he has to travel to where his family lives. I think in Indiana, I believe. In Indiana, this town really feels like this little place segregated from the rest of the world. Once the film got there, you felt like you were there too.
One of the things, I guess, it's a recurring cinematography trick that happens. One of the characters in the film he has a camera that he uses a lot. So sometimes when you're going onto scenes that carry a lot of weight for these characters, the camera is acting as if it's like an amateur film artist. And I think that was really great because it reminded you of all these other characters, just that one trick.
Yeah. Keep in mind, amateur, we mean that in the best way possible.
Well, like, it was it looked like it was just a person filming it, no real equipment.
Mm-hmm. And back to the atmosphere and environment thing. At one point in the movie, essentially, Robert Downey Jr.'s character says something along the lines of, I am from here. And once again, it emphasized, like, this is where his home is, and it definitely feels like this little place that you can find, if you just got on a plane or flew there.
And I also like, I like how we never see the area when Robert Downey Jr. is, a child when he's there. But we get the feeling that this is almost the exact same place. Like, nothing's changed, and that's a bit disturbing for him.
Yeah, once again, it's subtleties that the actor is able to portray that you can really appreciate. Now, in terms of pacing, how did you feel? We did mention that it was a little too long, but otherwise?
Well, pacing, you're never really bored with the film. Whenever the characters go off to do something else, you always feel the weight of the rest of the story on them.
Yeah. By all means, it is not a perfect film. There are plenty of problems with the film. And pacing can be a problem at times. You're never bored with the film, like you said. However, sometimes it felt like certain segments dragged on too long. Not too long, but unnecessarily long. And some segments that I really appreciated, which is whenever the courtroom scenario happened, I felt like could have had more time to really develop. But once again, it's something you could overlook, because the film in general is a very solid film. So it's not a problem as much as just something that's sort of annoying. Yeah. So, general thoughts on the movie? Or special elements?
Like we said, the movie, it's great almost always. You're never bored with it. You're always entertained. But when the movie really hits it off is whenever Robert Downey Jr. and Robert Duvall are on the same screen.
That's right.
Just the pressure of these two characters past is right there.
And there's even a scene where Robert Downey Jr.'s character has to help his father in a very personal and intimate way. And it could be disturbing to some, but it was very real. It felt very real. And it's just raw father and son relationship. And that is done so well that you're willing to overlook the flawed elements of the movie.
And the movie, it's because it knocks it out of the park so much, but the movie, more family is in the movie than just his father. And those two, that's what the movie focuses on. But it's also great whenever, he's with his brothers.
Yeah, that's right. There are a lot of characters, and they all get good backstory and development, but it's obviously focused on the father-son relationship. But the supporting characters are great,
and just kind of going on the characters and writing, which is really what this movie shines in. Just when one of his brothers is first on scene, we don't know who this character is. He hasn't been introduced, and then they talk for like 2 seconds, and you're just like, oh, he's his brother. Yeah,
it's not that the brother doesn't have layers to him. It's very realistic in the way they convey it. It's very it's as if they're real people.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to mention about the film?
See it. It'll make you really feel the pressures of both being a father and being a son.
Yeah, and I watched it with my father, and Nick just tagged along. It was a little awkward, and if you go see the film, bring your father or your family, because it's a family film at the end of the day. It's something that you could appreciate.
Unless your family's like 10.
Not the best.
10.
Or, there you go.
Don't bring their 10.
Yeah, if your kid's like 2, he won't understand anything. Why are you bringing a 2-year-old kid into the movie? All he's going to do is cry. Or she. I'm not going to be sexist. Alright. Regardless, let's score it out of 10. Once again, we score movies out of 10, TV episodes out of 5, TV series out of 100, and games out of 100. So, Nick.
I'm going to give it a 9.
9 out of 10. Wow, that's high score, man.
Yeah, it's... I know that it bugged you a lot, the fact that the movie went on too long. But by the end, it felt more like a fridge logic problem. I didn't notice it until the end. Until I was out of the theater, because you just want to see how these characters grow.
Yeah, and there's definitely a real arc that you can feel. Alright, I'm gonna rate it 8.7 out of 10. Because while I enjoyed the film, arguably as much as you did, some of its lesser elements, some of its flaws, such as the fact that it was a little too long, it was not as focused as I wanted it to be, bugged me a little more than I think it bugged you. And once again, it's really personal. But 8.7 out of 10 for me, 9.10 out of... Or sorry, 9.
9.
9 out of 10.
9.
Excuse me, 9 out of 10 from Nick. Is it Nick approved?
Yes, it is most certainly Nick approved.
Alright, so make sure you go see this film. And if not, wait till it comes out on video and watch it.
And once you watch it, make sure you come back here and see our spoiler review of it.
Yes, absolutely. There will be an annotation or a link below to that. Alright, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.